to the UW was the McCree stun and the Torp turret, and Georgia Tech. Good for them. They realized that, and they're gonna swap off the Doomfist and actually pick up position.
Yeah, we know UW really likes playing dive, but I guess they don't like it when other people do it, and so they're going completely anti-dive. So look like we're gonna go for another fight up at the top. That Reinhardt charge failed, so it looks like Georgia Tech's they're gonna take high ground, and now that they have high ground, they can hopefully get a recap on the point. So as they contest, they're gonna get some picks off. There goes Stealth Ninja. There goes our glorious Torb.
And that was such a good coordination from the Georgia Tech. They put down the Amp Matrix just as the Fire Strike was coming through. And well, to some basic math here, if Fire Strike does 100 damage and the Amp Matrix doubles damage, then how much damage is that? Well, it's 200, which just kills you.
Yeah. So let's see. With this, looks like Platypus is gonna double down with the Torbjorn. I'm not sure how much value he's getting for such an odd character. I mean, he's getting the surprise, but yeah, well, it looks like we're going for another team fight. We got the first pick on Lucio, but they can still live without that. They can still make a comeback. They got their own Shatter. Isn't able to really grab anybody. They're putting much of damage out there. There we go. Looks like UW is able to take out their main tank and take out some people in the back. So it looks like UW was able to get 3 picks and kind of push off the rest of the team.
That first pick onto the Lucio is actually massive, and high noon is one of those things that some people I should say, not all people, but some people will consider it as like kind of a joke ultimate. They'll use it to even just reload, but their trivia is able to pick the Lucio, and that means that UW gets to control the engage because they have the Lucio and the enemy doesn't. And now this is going to buy so much space. The Molten Core coming out just denying entry.
Yeah, it looks like they started this fight with 2 ults, didn't find any picks. The Dragon and the Molten Core are gone, but the Molten Core got really big value, pushed them away, and they had to re-enter the fight at a different position. So now they're over here at this opening. Looks like we've got a Zarya ult right here. Oh! It's put down, it's captured like almost the whole team. Lucio is able to put down his sound barrier and protect a bunch of people. So they're able to survive this, but not without losing. UW is losing their Lucio and the rest of the team apparently in one swift bop.
And we said that yes, the Molten-Core was able to buy a lot of space. The thing is, the Georgia Tech is like, okay, you're gonna put down the Molten-Core. The point's only at 80% at that point, so we can have the time to wait it out just a little bit, and then engage on our own time. And we should also point out the massive Graviton eat that kill switch gets there, and that just about saves that last team fight.
So as the percent gets higher and higher, it looks like we're going for maybe a final team fight, depending on who wins this one. They got double Deadeyes. Neither of them find any value. There goes Craig with a pick on Platypus. So it looks like Georgia Tech is getting an advantage. But UW puts a slam down, takes out their Reinhardt. Barely doesn't get that Baptiste, who hops away, but he's able to find the rest of the teammates. So the only person left from Georgia Tech is McCree, and he falls down onto point.
You have to feel so bad on the timing there. Both Reinhardts go for the Shatter at exactly the same time, so the one who wins is just who happened to press Q just a fraction of a second earlier. In that case, it was Mad Cow who just gets the Shatter before, I believe it's Juice Ice who is playing the Reinhardt gets his down, and then no, it just went downhill from there with both the Batiste and the Reinhardt on the ground.
Yeah, it was really 2 mirrors because there was 2 Deadeyes, didn't find anything, but then 2 Reinhardt slams, which did make and break the game. Or the round.
I should say something about Deadeye too while we're on the topic. That of course, again, we were saying before, Deadeye can be kind of a strange ultimate, but the one thing that it does do really well is it forces the enemy team away from a space. It's effectively a space creating ultimate, which maybe it's a joke, maybe it isn't.
Yeah, it wasn't designed that way, but here it is. That's how it's being used. So that's what it's become. But it looks like we got a monkey this time. Looks like Winston's going around from the bottom to the top, just putting out a little bit of damage, not taking too much himself. There's a hamster in the back. And, well, the camera was panned away from it, but it looks like we had a big just team wipe.
I'm not sure if you saw, but like if you're paying attention to like the hero stuff like on the top. 4 people got flashed by Platypus with just one flashbang. What? I don't even know how that happened since we weren't watching him, but wow.
Maybe the flashbang should be the ultimate because it's so good.
Yeah, it's good with the good coordination, I suppose.
But it looks like they're coming out of the halls and they're gonna be fighting here on point. They got a Mercy here. Diva is trying to concentrate her. They got an anti on nearly the entire team. Mercy is completely canceled out. There she goes. There goes Craig, who was getting supported by her. Looks like Platypus got another ult, but he's just gonna use his old revolver to get rid of this hamster. Hamster survives, but has to get out of there with so low health. And this Tracer didn't survive. Trib was able to trace her down and make sure she has to go all the way back to spawn.
This is the UW dives that we love to see, and this Mercy from Georgia Tech may be more of a liability because Mercy, yes, she does have Guardian Angel every 2 seconds, but she's still quite susceptible to getting dive here, and when the anti-nade hits, there's just no healing that can come through when the Mercy is self-regen or otherwise.
And there goes the Mercy again, like you were talking. Mad Cat Disease was able to get her out of the way, and he's going crazy, trying to push people into traffic. Let's see if we get a card kill here. Oh, there it goes. Forza Yala getting memed on.
That is just vehicular assault right there.
If you look at the kill feed, there goes Diva. Diva fell.
Well, that was probably more of a self reset there because you don't like to be caught as Baby Diva. You kind of want to just kill yourself, or you're kind of feeding. But kind of brutal from Mad Cow right there. Is pushing the enemy Zen into traffic. Beware the cars.
Georgia Tech is getting ready for one final push as we get to 99%. They have to fight on point this entire time or else they're going to lose the overtime. But not looking good. Craig is immediately taken down on his switch to Soldier. They throw down 2 ultimates over here. They got a Hamster Ult and Transcendence. The mines were all cleared. Diva throws a bomb out there. Doesn't really find anybody. Gets rid of all the mines. It's still overtime here, and we're getting trades left and right. Here's a Mercy going out. That's going to be a big blow. A Diva bomb, but Winston's able to jump away from it and into a couple of mines. Soldier there putting out damage. It's still running overtime. There's still a few picks, but not enough to decide a winner up until now, as it's
still not decided.
It's really just Diva and Tracer on both sides. There goes UW's Tracer. There goes UW's Stealth Ninja. It looks like they're going to be able to capture this point. Georgia is able to stall for a little bit longer.
But that was so close, and now Georgia Tech, they're kind of stuck on these semi-awkward stall picks. And that was really close to UW winning that too because of the support lineup that Georgia Tech were running with the Zen Mercy. They got dove and dived, and they're really lucky that they had enough, that Georgia Tech, I should say, had enough to stay just barely to win that last team fight. But it's 99%, they can't lose another.
Yeah, Georgia Tech was really able to slow down the team fight. It was really long. It was just like almost a stall, and they were able to work off that and win. And so as we're kind of brawling around here on the outskirts, we're looking for a trade all over here. There goes UW's, both of their healers, so they're going to be kind of down and disadvantaged in this fight. But Mad Cow Disease doesn't let that bother him. He ults, guys to push people around, doesn't find any kills for it. Diva throws her ult onto the point, doesn't find anybody either. Looks like Trib is able to win the 1v1 with the Tracer, as the rest of the team kind of starts to come in. The Diva Bomb didn't find anything else. Mad Cow Disease going for the heals because his healers are both gone. But Mads is back. Throws in a Nano Boost. Trib is trying to get some picks using it, but Soldier is in the background visoring, so can't really have free range here. And a fight with the Soldier, takes damage and dips. Yeah, it looks like Georgia Tech was able to just kind of push them off. Maybe not kill everybody, but get them away from point.
And that was such a big win, too, because the University of Washington, they put in nearly all their resources thinking they could just ek it out. But now they're only going to have a sound barrier in what is almost last fight territory for Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech, they're going to have the sound barrier of their own and the pulse bomb. I have to wonder, is this sound barrier going to be enough?
And are they going to use it offensively or defensively? Looks like the fight is on their way. They push it up like halfway through the fight, try to get this Baby Diva out of the way. They're able to take out the Soldier, take out the Tracer, take out one of the healers, take out the Hamster. Yeah, it's just stalling now. UW has already won this team fight, so as long as they can cap it, then they're going to win right here. Lucio's going around the pillar, but he dies too.
amazing recognition from the University of Washington that they're down on the old economy and they have to take the fight before Georgia Tech were ready. And they just spot that the Diva and Wrecking Ball are kind of on their own and they make the call to just dive the two tanks when they weren't ready. And all of a sudden, that was just a game. That was just game with both things in trouble. The Diva getting picked, Wrecking Ball I think just barely got out of that, but that was amazing recognition on a split-second weakness from Georgia Tech there to clutch out that last team fight.
Yeah, Georgia Tech made it a lot longer than I thought they would. I think maybe one of the things in the first fight that they chose the Torb pick, which actually did a lot better than I was expecting it to. But UW is a really good on dive, so I think they should kind of stick with what they're good at. I think they should stick with what works, and that's really dive for them.
That being said, I did like the kind of stall pick look from the Georgia Tech, actually. Even though a lot of them were stall characters, like the Soldier Leg, the Moira, that comp was actually a lot more resistant to the UW dives due to the nature of I would say, at least their support line, right? The Mercy Zen was a kind of a vulnerability for them, but the Moira Lucio, it was just a lot harder for UW dives to actually land on a speed boosted backline.
Yeah, the team fight
I like that.
Yeah, the team fight where they were able to switch things around was a long one. They were able to just stay alive for a really long time, and I think that confused UW. Usually they're used to fast, quick team fights, but they stayed alive just long enough to get an edge out and win.
Now, although that particular map was 2-0, don't let that fool you, as that was actually fairly close, especially that last one, right, that we just had. I believe that was Garden stage. I could be wrong on that. I just don't have my stages right. But at any rate, I think now we're heading back to Kings Row, as we alluded to earlier. Someone may have been a bit of a spoiler sport.
Yeah, but we're here now.
We're here now. That's right, and I think we're just ready to get started. What do you think about matching the UW on this brawl comp here?
I think it's
Oh, I lied.
interesting. Yeah, let's see. They've got a Mei there, which is going along with the stall theme of the previous game. But they've got, let's see. I don't know. I think when it comes to brawling, UW was doing better. So Georgia Tech should try to separate them. Maybe, yeah, some sort of like.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I see what you mean. And UW, I said I lied earlier because for a moment it looked like that UW was actually going to play dive, but no, they're also going to play this brawl comp. And Reinhardt is pretty good on this map. It is something about the map design. It was actually designed with Reinhardt in mind. Big pin though, and
yeah, big pin
he picks up the Zarya.
And they're able to get both tanks. There goes Georgia Tech's line of defense. There goes all their shields. The rest of the team just has to kind of get out of there.
You know, when I was learning Reinhardt, because I'm basically a tank main. When I was learning Reinhardt, one of the things that you are supposed to learn is don't use your charge, because that was supposed to be one of the worst ways to engage as a Reinhardt. But Mad Cow, he's a better tank player than me, and so these stagger spawns are just so brutal. Oh, but what I was going to say is that you normally learn not to not to charge, but these players better decision making than me. Maybe there's a good opportunity there just when we were cutting in to see the charge.
Yeah, in a brawl group, Ryan is able to make more charges because he's got the rest of the team right there supporting him.
That's the stagger spawn, by the way. So
yeah, it looks like
there's gonna be a lot of space for free.
Yeah, it looks like they've already got cartons in the back, but they're already pushed up.
What's this
to the checkpoint.
doing? What's he doing? He's been spotted, most certainly. There's no way he survives this, right?
He just might get away with 6 health. No.
No, they shut it down. That's another stagger spawn, and I have to say, this is not super disciplined play. That being said, the McCree was kind of caught in a tough spot, but those two staggered kills, I should say, on the Hanzo and McCree, they're gonna basically make point B a one fight deal.
Yeah, it looks like as the cart starts to catch up with them, they're going to be forced into a team fight. No more stalling.
Oh,
There goes Trib right before the team fight gets underhold. Platypus
nice
is an ult,
headshot.
and you can see where everybody is.
Oh dear.
Ooh, now that they got everybody in the
Big
grab, they
ammo.
throw down. But Immortality Shield kind of helps them out for a little bit long, stay a little bit longer. They hammered down, caught a bunch of people, and they're able to work off that.
That was a huge immortality field, and for a moment I thought even after the immortality field comes down, because everyone's still at 20% health after the dragon strike comes through, and maybe that'll be enough damage. Some kills get traded back and forth, but eventually the UW the trivia is able to come back super fast on the tracer, and that makes a huge difference in swinging a team fight.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an interesting team fight because the escort was still coming behind them. But looks like into this next fight, we've got a few ults ready, or more than a few.
Lots.
Looks like Georgia has nearly every ult in their bag, in their arsenal, ready to go. So we pop it off with a high noon, but there's a shield protecting really everybody, so it doesn't get any value. There goes both Mom and Pain Warrior on Georgia Tech's side.
Big
but
shatter.
UW gets pinned down. There was no...
And grab.
And yeah, they're not able to follow through. They all get grabbed. They all got thrown down the ground, but they weren't finished off.
Oh, so you hate to see it. Were we talking about a massive ult advantage for University for Georgia?
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Sorry, but where is it? It's all gone. All those ultimates, no value. They lost, and their ultimate economy is in shambles. And what are they gonna do to stop this payload? It's only 3 meters away. The answer, nothing. Oh, that hurts so much to see that happen. And you also had like the Shatter got 2-3 people on the ground. The graph came after that, but there wasn't follow up, and UW did really well
Yeah.
to just handle all of those ultimates. You saw at the beginning of that team fight, the window and Deadeye comes through, which does lots of damage, by the way. But UW are able to put the everyone else is able to LOS it, and those ultimately get no value. Then the Shatter comes in, and the Grab comes in, and the Georgia Tech, they aren't in position to follow up on it. And so everyone's able to be healed through it, and now you've just tossed 4 ultimates and you've handed UW the ultimate advantage. I have to question that decision making just a little bit, or at least, if not the decision making, at least the team coordination, because that Shatter and Grab should have won Georgia Tech the team fight.
Yeah, the end game was really odd, but so was kind of the mid game. Like almost the entire part of the mid game, going through all the different the back streets. The escort, the payload was way in the back, and all the fighting was like not even near it. During that like whole mid game, getting it all the way to the underground, UW was like miles ahead of it, and Georgia Tech was never able to slow it down. So they got a ton of time off of that.
Now, I'm not sure if this double sniper is here today or just to see if we get some picks. I don't know. No, the Georgia Tech. They're gonna swap off the Widow, and they're gonna go for a main. They're gonna look for some wall engages here, probably as Mad Cow drops low and has to retreat.
That looks like we're gonna have a team fight behind 2 barriers as we fight on to point. Juice gets bubbled up, but Juice was killed right after the bubble expired. And now that the main front is gone, UW is able to push back up to this choke point.
It's a technique I think that we saw there from trivia, but you can actually flash Reinhardt past his barrier by tossing your flashbang above that. I'm not sure if that's what trivia did it or if it was just able to get the raw flash, but the flash coming through allows all the damage to just pour into Juice Ice, and he just drops as the 1v1 is won from Platypus to Hanzo v Hanzo, and the Georgia Tech, they might have to wait just a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like Craig is gonna have to respawn, but it doesn't seem like that's phasing them. They're still kind of posted up a little bit. I mean, they're not fully engaging yet, but they're still trying to get some damage out there, trying to get some ult charge maybe. Trib has got a Deadeye in the back. There's still that shield,
hurts.
so yeah.
These picks are costing precious time, and they're gonna go aggressive and pick up another.
Yeah, UW has gotten. There's a second pick. there goes their Lucio. They're kind of
And now
forcing them
they're
to push all the way back.
Yeah, and now the ultimate advantage is decisively in favor of UW with every single ult above 70%, so most of them are going to come online in the mid part of this team fight, and I'm not sure if Georgia Tech, they're going to have the only 4 ults, maybe 5, but they shatter, but
Hammer down.
everyone's dead.
Yeah, I guess it didn't really matter. Mom still gets a pick over there on Platypus, but that's not enough. They've got nearly like the rest of the team. One pick isn't going to be enough. And UW's ult advantage has only gotten better. They've got 4 ults now with Nathros at 96%.
That being said, Georgia Tech, they are gonna have 5 ults of their own here, and I'd be watching this Blizzard that's soon gonna be online for Mom.
Oh, there goes their Blizzard, just as you predicted. There goes a Dragon too. Doesn't really find any kills. Hammered down by Mad Cow Disease, grabs that Zarya and takes her out of the game. And they're pushing everybody back to the choke point once again.
The thing is, though, this team fight, although Georgia Tech loses, UW does invest, I believe, 4 ultimates into that, while Georgia Tech, they only use the Shatter and the Sound Barrier. And now the ultimate economy has swapped over to Georgia Tech's side. That being said, we are under 1 minute now, and we are going to see some swaps, but good. They are keeping the ultimates that they do currently have, and now this Moira is going to provide a lot more frontline healing to try to force their way through with the 4 ultimates that they have.
Looks like we're going to have a Georgia Tech grab, and it grabs a bunch of people. They throw a dragon right into it, so everybody was in there. Takes a bunch of damage. The Immortality Field keeps them alive. The Blizzard freezes them up. And yeah, it looks like they were able to, just in the nick of time, win the team fight they needed. With the Immortality Shield to celebrate.
Yeah, that was just too much for UW to handle their...
It's true.
Don't tell me you get a pick here. You get
2 picks.
What? I mean, they're still gonna lose a team fight anyway. Anyway, unless they get a fast engage. No, the UW, they're gonna smartly let that go. But what a play from Trivia, nevertheless. And that will slow this down a little bit with the 2 supports from Georgia Tech having to respawn there. UW, they're gonna get some ground. Ooh, but that's a great pick too. Now, what I was going to say before Trivia just gets to by his lonesome is that Georgia Tech did have to invest their entire ult bank into winning the last fight, which, to be fair, is the right thing to do to secure it. But now ult economy, it's gone back and forth, and right now it's in favor of UW.
Yeah, it looks like Juice has a hammer down, trying to get rid of that shield so he can use it. Uses it right there. Finds a bunch of people in the path. Isn't able to really maybe just get 1 kill off, but not after that. Platypus respawns back with his own dragon, which really takes them out.
So the Shatter was pretty good. The problem is that on the other side, while Juice was getting super aggro trying to follow up on the Shatter, Stealth Ninja drops the grab, and then the Dragon Strike comes through, and that picks up too many for there to be winning chances. That being said, there's an opening pick here, and now they're gonna have a cold engage.
Pin on the Reinhardt, a second pin. Both Reinhardt gets pinned. They put a hammer down, but they got a shield to protect them, and Moira is doing the heavy lifting of healing. Looks like Nathros has an ult right here, hasn't committed it just quite yet.
He's gotta hold on to it.
And he won't be able to, yeah.
Well, there's no point in using it. You'd rather hold on to that. Just stall the card a little bit. You'll be back in time. It's Lucio, and you try to use the sound barrier to win out this probably last team fight for point B. This is a must-win for Georgia Tech here.
Looks like Trib is going to go in the back once again. He's got Echo, so he can make more use of the sky. So it's going to be good for this last push. Craig grabs everybody and throws a dragon at them. Immortality Shield has been saving people like crazy in all these grab fights.
Oh
Trib,
my.
Back to his old McCree. Isn't able to really find any picks, but he's able to get a bunch of damage and scare them off away.
And that was such a favorable trade from the University of Washington too. They trade the Reinhardt for the Zarya there, the Reinhardt and that means that there's a lot less frontline specifically for the Georgia Tech in comparison to UW as oh dear, this is just clean up with Stagger just trying to touch point.
Yeah, as Mags is getting a bunch of kills over there
Mm.
on the top right.
Yeah, that last fight, yeah. So if we just think about the last fight for a bit, the grab comes in, it forces out a lots of utility from University of Washington. You saw the sound barrier come through, and the immortality field eventually evens through all that. It does pick up the Zarya, but the Georgia Tech's Reinhardt also falls in the skirmish, and all of a sudden one side has a shield and another side doesn't, and the Zarya I don't think is enough. Having the Zarya over the Reinhardt isn't enough to
No.
compensate. And then we saw the big duplicate come in, and even though it doesn't immediately get picks, it puts down lots of damage, and Georgia Tech they just lose that essential team fight, and the last part was really just Staggers trying to touch point. As a UW, they're
Yeah.
going to win that 2-0 against Georgia Tech, and that was certainly nothing to like say, oh, that was super easy. No, Georgia Tech they were doing really well, giving UW a hard time there. Unfortunately, at the end, I don't think the synergy was quite there at the critical moments for Georgia Tech, and UW they're able to take advantage of that and win out overall 2-0. Again, 2-0 doesn't say a whole lot to reflect how close some of these were, but in the end, that's the bottom line score.
Yeah, so even though like some of the team fights were going back and forth, overall it was kind of clear that UW was a lot more, I don't know, connected. They were getting a lot more picks and helping each other out with when they got a pick, another person would come in and help and make even more value. So they were able to kind of pile up on that one pick rather than just kind of getting a pick and then walking away from it, you know?
Yeah. Now, I believe we're going to have a short break while we transition into our next match. I believe is against the Oklahoma Wesleyans, if I
Yes.
recall correctly. And so we'll see you after the break.
See you.
Welcome back to our UW Overwatch esports stream, and thank you once again for joining us as we present the second of two matches from our UW Overwatch esports team. And this match, I believe we are against the Oklahoma Wesleyans. And I'm looking forward to some more amazing whatever the UW decides to run. Generally, it's been
Yeah.
dive, but in the previous match, we've also seen some pretty good brawl.
Yeah, they were playing Brawl with some aspects of Dive, you know? I think Dive is just kind of in their nature. So whether they're playing like whatever team composition, they've got some traces of Dive there.
All right, and once again, we are going to be playing Oasis, and I don't think you can really get enough of the really nice weather, presumably, that you have there. I don't know if you guys live in Washington, but at least where it is, the weather's been a little cold. I'd imagine that having
Yeah.
some palm trees and warm weather around would be nice. So, guess we can't get too much of that. Well, until you live there, maybe. But that's beside the point. So, anyway, I think we're going to be getting into the match pretty soon now. So let's
Yeah,
see
looking at
what the
Oasis,
teams are running.
that weather you're talking about, I know we've got a bunch of news on Overwatch 2, and one of the things they mentioned were different climates. And like looking here, this sunset or is it really sunset? I don't know, but the
I don't know.
atmosphere
Kind of
looks
looks
really
like
good.
I don't know, like
Yes.
the kind of reds and orange. It reminds me of kind of a sunset there. Maybe we should talk about the game here as we're going into it. Was definitely a dive here with the University of Washington, and I see a Sombra and Echo on the Wesleyans.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna be trying a more finicky approach, and it just might work.
Oh, what a
They get the first pick
dive!
on Platypus, but it's traded in the background. They lost their Echo and they just lost their Winston, so it looks like UW's off to the early lead in this team fight, and they take out another tank, and both are healers. Yeah, UW was able to take off this whole fight, even though they lost the first pick. They were able to win the team fight.
Well, what happened was that was a pretty good counter dive from the University of Washington. That in a way you can think about it, Platypus was kind of bait to draw the dive onto him, and once the dive comes in, UW is able to bring the counter dive onto the divers, and they're able to take down two.
And there goes Oklahoma's Winston once again, getting taken out early before the team fight. Looks like that Sombra got caught in the middle of nowhere. She'd be able to teleport away, but
she's probably gonna be fine. And the one ultimate that you really want to be looking for is this EMP, which is over halfway there. And whenever this EMP comes through, it should be a one fight. But in the meantime, Wesley gets taken out again.
Yeah, he's getting taken out. He's going for some questionable plays and getting really punished for it.
Ooh, yikes. That's an unfortunate getting caught with 16 HP moment, and nah, Sombra, you aren't getting out there either. Now, that being said, there are actually no ultimates online for the University of Washington, which probably more says how fast these team fights have been occurring and how patient. Oh dear, that was a sleep dart for the ages.
Oh man.
But so what happened? There was the Magus lands a sleep dart onto the wrecking ball, and then everyone just bursts them down at the same time. But now the EMP is up, and that should, in theory, nullify the technical old advantage of the University of Washington,
which they're really gonna need. They need to really get this EMP off and grab a bunch of people with it if they're hoping to win a team fight here. Mad Cow Disease pushed all the way back, but his teammates in the front are getting some kills.
It's 92%. He's not going to be able to use the EMP. They're going to have to stagger. Oh, no. And
the
who's
poor
no
EMP.
Oh, no, there's one person. Actually, Big Stick, but it will instantly get traded out, and
just a hamster stall on here. Platypus with his vision trying to clear the room as overtime clicks down. Yeah, they were never able to use that. Oh, there it is. Oh, the long-awaited EMP.
It's after the point was.
Yeah.
Oh, you hate to see all of those staggered deaths from the Wesleyans, and that just prevents the EMP from ever being able to be used, because ideally, EMP, that's your engage ultimate. It basically cancels any defensive things that the University of Washington might want to do, but the problem was in the fight that the Wesleyans were probably looking to use EMP, their Lucio gets picked towards the beginning of the team fight, and that means that they aren't able to engage, so they make the call, hold on to the EMP, but then everyone else starts dying, and then the EMP eventually just never gets used.
It looks like the Sombra is being swapped out. Yeah, it wasn't really getting the they got hacks, but they were never followed up on, so they weren't worth it. They weren't doing anything. Looks like this first fight they bopped UW's Reinhardt into the ground and was able to get past them and get 2 picks over here. They were able to get Steel Ninja and Trip.
That's a good item. The Reinhardt actually getting forced down into the hole. This isn't the Oasis hole, and so it's not like it kills you, but it takes you out to fight for eight or so seconds, which is 8 or so seconds that UW does not have a shield, and so even though that they get 1 pick, it doesn't matter if you don't have a shield, and they kind of just lose the engage.
Yeah, when you're in the heat of a team fight, you might as well have died. You know, you're not helping out the rest of your team. But looks like we're going into another team fight here. They got a hammer down, which got kind of nullified. Mad Cow Disease trying to push everybody around there, gets hammered down himself, thrown to the corner, survives though. Trip is using this shield to try to pull off a high noon. Isn't able to find anybody like usual, but I mean, they are still able to win the team fight, so it's all good.
That was actually a really good Reinhardt play from Mad Cow Disease. And what he did is the Ant Matrix came down from the Wesleyans, and Mad Cow, he just pushes right past it, essentially nullifying all of the double damage or healing that could have been done with the Ant Matrix. And that push basically nullifies 1 ultimate there, and that's enough to just make sure that everyone's able to stay alive, and eventually that just wins the team fight.
Yeah, looks like we're going to the next one. Visor's up. They got the shield right in front of it. And UW's taking a few kills. They got a boop in the background. They take out the Zarya. They take out the Ryan. And now they just kind of clean up.
That was some big semi flank kills there to pick off the 2 DPS from the Wesleyans at the start, and the UW they only have to use the attack visor there to pressure out the front line while the back line was kind of starting to cave in a bit. Now we're looking at a massive old advantage for Wesleyans though, and so this should be the engage that they're looking for.
Yeah, they might want to deal with that high ground. They got 2 people up here. They got the soldier and Baptiste doing some healing and some damage up there. So maybe they're going to try to rotate over there. That would be my guess. Maybe not. They pin the Reinhardt right before he does the slam, and because of that, they're able to take out both tanks. They wall off the rest of the UW team, get him away, and take out the Lucio up on high ground. There's another ult on high ground. He's got immortality shield, so he doesn't die just quite yet. Takes out the shield, and maybe tries to find out where Trib went, but no, Trib is running away. He's gone. He's gone. Go to the rest of his team and heal back up. Ready for the next team fight.
That seemed like the kind of ultimate where you just use to see if you can do anything and then swap. But the McCree, well, okay, Tribute gets value. Shatter with.
Yeah, these shatters are not getting too many people. Yeah, it looks like they froze the. Ooh, I don't know what's going on here. They're just
the problem that happened there was that Wesley's Reiner got a little bit greedy, looking for an Earth Shatter, and the time he's looking for that semi flank shatter is time that he's not on his team's front line to shield his team, and that means that there's nothing to block damage for the Wesleyans, and so their front line topples over.
And their Ryan just got killed again, so looking at this next team fight, they don't have somebody to be front
it's 95%. Is anyone going to even be able to touch? I think their maid might be able to get there. No, she gets picked, and that's going to be the end of that. 30% to 100%, and University of Washington, they're going to be able to win out Oasis.
Yeah, UW won that previous team fight right before the end, so they said, you know what, if we have the manpower, let's hold up farther up. That way when the people start to trickle in, they're able to get some staggers and basically prevent an actual team fight for ending around that 99%. So yeah.
Speaking of which, you can really see the different philosophies in how the UW and the Wesleyans run their brawl comp. So UW were playing quite aggressive, pushing up beyond the choke point on point to the 2 hallway choke points on that Oasis stage, and so in the contrast, the Wesleyans were generally just holding on point. And the thing I like about the UW that they did there is by holding up further out, even if you lose the team fight, you still gain more percent. And we need to remember, Overwatch ultimately is an objective-based game. It's technically not about picks, and that's why you have the infamous C9, where everyone gets all the kills, but no one remembers that you gotta sit on the objective to win. And they play around that objective really well. I think in addition to that, the Reinhardt interaction there was actually super interesting there, and I'm excited to see what we might see from that in our future map, which is going to be King's Row. And if we learned anything from the previous match with Georgia Tech, is that, well, we're probably going to see some Reinhardt.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of Reinhardt play for the past, not only that previous game, but also in the games against Georgia Tech. And we're going to see more here, I assume, because this is his map. So yeah, as you hinted about earlier, these team comps are pretty similar, but the way they play them is like completely different. Like you said, UW is really, really aggro, and Oklahoma is a little bit more relaxed, maybe chilled back. They have a May. Earlier they had a Sombra who was going off by themselves. Yeah. So
I mean, if you think about it, UW, they generally run dive, and so they love to be aggro anyway. So I think this style kind of suits them in a interesting way. And okay, I guess is this a bait? Just showing that we have a Winston. I bet Stealthman is going to swap. Yeah, I think it was just for the memes. As we see, yep, the two Reinhardts here. I'm excited to watch this Reinhardt interaction. As we just see the cheeky to teleport up to the high ground to bypass this first choke.
Yeah, they immediately go to high ground. The Trib is looping all the way around as the rest of the team kind of drops
Ooh,
off from that little high spot. They're able to get the first pick on the Baptiste. That's going to lower their
there's no
heals. They
sustain.
they push them all the way back to the streets. They basically got the point for free. I mean, they're
Oh,
only one kill got traded before they were on site.
well, that's because the first pick was the Batiste, and the Batiste is the one that's keeping your front line alive. And when that pick comes out, the Wesleyans, they have no choice but to give space because there's no sustain available. As the Batiste gets picked again by a charge.
Gosh, they're
What?
under the same problem, but this time the rest of the team feels the burn. UW goes in and doesn't let them run away.
You're supposed to be able to get value out of charge. You can't just do that. But Mad Cow,
Yeah.
he's crazy. He just makes it work. And that's 2 team fights in a row now where Thunder kind of just dies to begin with. And there hasn't been a real solid brawl versus brawl team fight because Wesleyans, they just have to give space time and time again. As
looks like
old
we're seeing a
advantage
similar-
now. Oh
Oh, looks like
my.
getting pops, and we're seeing a similar tactic right here where UW is fighting all the way at the checkpoint, even though the escort has a ton of distance to cover.
I believe
They're all-
that
they're-
it. Oh my!
They're
Look at
fighting
this
all the way
face.
at the final point, and it's working. They're somehow not losing any of their teammates. They're able to get a bunch of picks, enough to
This is
prevent
just
a
the
full team fight.
this is just the aggro from the University of Washington. They taking so much space that this is going to be again a one fight proposition for the side of the Wesleyans to contest point B. And what ultimates do you have to do it? In that matrix? Well, what if they just engage first? Oh dear. Oh, that being said,
Get rid of mad cow disease. Get him out of the way. But it's too late. They lost the point.
they lost the point.
They lost the checkpoint. Yeah, but they're able to get
lost-
a few kill nows.
Oh my
Five-
god.
5
Again,
minutes 30 on the clock.
It's
But
an
they're finally
objective-based
starting to get some
game.
picks.
It's an objective-based game. They lose the team fight, but they win the point. Is what you would call in terms of war a Pyrrhic victory. It's you win the battle but lost the war kind of deal. And even though the Ultimates are starting to come back on for
Blizzard
Wesley,
gets played.
this is trouble.
Yeah, Blizzard gets played right there. They're able to make good use of it, and they get 4 picks off of that. But they also used a sound barrier, so there was 2 ults used.
That being said, two ults also used on the side of the UW. Excuse me. That
Oh, yeah,
just
very
kinda,
true.
Oh, what the? Early shatter, and it finds the Batiste again.
Oh, it looks like they're able to defend off another push from UW. Yeah, it looks like UW has lost their crazy momentum they had earlier as Trip also falls down.
Right.
But they have
Shatter-
spawn advantage now. So
Yeah.
they're not being affected so much off these picks as they would have felt earlier where they're super far extended.
Right.
So they're able
and
to try out some crazier plays.
look how much
as
space
Nate
they're
throws-
just getting for free.
Throws down a sound barrier, which means they're going to be committed for this next fight, so they didn't lose that for nothing. But they get punished. They get pushed back. Even though they committed an ult or 2 there, they are able to... Oklahoma's able to fend them off.
And I think what we can see is that if the Wesleyans are able to actually get the brawl versus brawl engage that they just want, then they're actually able to do really well. They're trading ultimates effectively. They're overall just winning these fights on point C. But the problem is they still have 4 minutes to defend because the UW, they just rolled the first 2 points with pick after pick.
Yeah, Oklahoma's been doing good, like you said, there's just a lot of time to defend. Throws in a pulse bomb there. They die in doing it, but they're able to get enough damage off and some picks so the rest of the team can push in. Now UW has control of the escort, and they're going back to that earlier place where we were. And like we saw earlier, when they were up here, they were getting the picks, and so they're comfortable in this little playground area. So it's looking
Right,
tough for
and
Oklahoma.
looking forward, they're positioning again, and
Throws a
don't tell me
dragon
that
right to the
Dragon's Strike
wall.
gets value.
Oh man.
It does. It ultimately causes the Rhine to fall because the team kind of gets split by that ultimate, and oh dear, does this? Oh my! What a play by Stealth Ninja there to just make sure the Reinhardt doesn't he fall off the map? No, he doesn't, and this just rolled. My
Man,
thoughts are a little incoherent there, so I sound like I'm blubbering there. But what
but
happened there was the super aggro play that we see so much from UW. Toss in the Dragon Strike, splits the team. Eventually, the Wesleyan's Reinhardt falls for it. And in desperation, the males comes out to try to slow it down, but Night Source, he's able to just barely speed out of that, and Mad Cow gets the bubble from Stealth Ninja to purge the freeze effect, which means he does not ultimately get frozen up, and the brawl advantage from UW just kind of just rolls from there on out. What aggressive plays we're seeing from the University of Washington.
yeah, it was crazy. It was like once they lost that first upfront checkpoint, they kind of lost the whole back third.
Yeah, and I do have to I should say Wesleyans they are playing Brawl Comp really well here when they're able to get the ultimate and Brawl engages that they want. The problem is UW are generally speaking not letting them get the engagement they want. They're going for the super duper fast. We're gonna speed boost in, go all out, force to take space, use ultimates, take even more space, and then just kill you. And that rush down philosophy, the death ball really is what you would call this style. Is really paying dividends here for University of Washington.
But now University of Washington is kind of forced to slow down because they're defending. They can't rush in as much because they won't get as much value for it because they just gotta walk the clock down. And so now maybe that they're kind of forced to stay on point. Maybe Oklahoma will be able to work with it. Looks like we're gonna go into the first team fight with a Ryan via Ryan up in front, both getting bubbled. Immortality shield goes down. Not too much damage going on right here. Both the Ryans are still good health, but in the background there goes Oklahoma's DPS. There goes McCree. The Ryans are still fighting around this May wall, trying to get some hammer kills. Not too many. And down goes two Oklahomas, and they got platypus, but the rest of the Oklahoma was also taken out.
I'm going to try to explain a series of strange but I think causal relationships there. The immortality field comes down early from the Wesleyans, which means that the Wesleyans they aren't able to play as aggressively. This allows the Max to pay attention more to the flankers, and he actually takes down the flanker because he knows he has immo field if he needs to suddenly switch focus, and that wins the team fight. Just the early immo field from
And the
the
high
Wesleyans.
Trib's early high noon kept everybody in the building, but now that it's over, they're coming on out. They're out here to play. Mags is keeping everybody healed up, so they're not
That's a
taking
one
too
shot.
much damage. Looks like we've got a shatter right here. If he can find anybody, he'll use it, but they're all grabbed up, so it's kind of an awkward position. They got immortality, but it's all gone.
Oh no!
Lost the bubble. Dub gets a pick.
Oh no!
Both McCree's gone. There
I don't
goes
know if you
Oklahoma's
saw
Ryan.
that. But that was so sad. The Wesleyan's right, so sad. His own teammate, the Brophilius on the May, he robs his own Reinhardt from the shadow by
Yeah.
just putting up the wall at exactly the wrong time. It feels bad moment right there as the Wesleyans they've swapped the Reinhardt for a Winston actually as they feel they just have to have some kind of high ground presence to deal with I think it's Platypus and Trivia on the high ground there, but oh dear, he's already low and gets taken down there. Yikes, the flashbang doing massive work there.
Yeah, Ryan wasn't working too well, but Winston wasn't either. In that previous round, Winston kept getting picked over and over again. I guess he forgot about that or something because he's back to Winston and still going to stay on it. Looks like Oklahoma has a dead eye ready. Maybe he can grab some space for that. That's at most all he can hope for. Nathros has a sound effect.
You can't
Yikes.
shoot at Platypus. You're just taking names. Oh,
Platypus in the
is
back.
that your head? Oh, I'm sorry. Is it being connected by an arrow? Oh, and there's under 1 minute. I actually really did like though the Reinhardt look from with Wesleyans. I just feel that if they can keep going to Reinhardt, eventually they'll get the engagement they're looking for. We saw that on the point C. They were able to hold their own. That being said, defense is a little different from offense, but still, I have to wonder that is Winston actually getting the job done here?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and if people continue to flank like Platypus was able to, then maybe not. Bunch of ults thrown right on the point. There goes the grab. There goes a dragon. There goes the sound. There goes a High Noon who actually gets a pick from it. There goes the Mei. There goes the healer.
Oh,
Everybody's getting picked off one by one. When the
it's
ults have settled and it's down to team fight, UW is able to get the picks.
the ult advantage was just too big for the Wesleyans to overcome in the end. All of the ultimates come down to grab, and then the high noon from the high ground, and it's too much. And Wesleyans they're just pressured out into just death there at the very end. And I have to say, I thought that UW loved their dive comps, but I wouldn't mind just never seeing that again and just watching this super aggro
Yeah.
brawl comp there. It's working wonders for their intimidation. I guess is the word I'm looking for
Yeah.
there. It's, oh dear, I'd be scared by that.
Yeah, yeah. And it looks like we've got all covered all O2 games. I mean, it's still early in the season, but UW is looking really, really good this for the rest of the tournaments.
Right,
But
and looking forward, their future I think is going to look pretty bright here. If they also have this brawl comp in their pocket in addition to their already fearsome dive, I think their future is looking pretty bright. At any rate, congratulations to the University of Washington for winning these games. As we mentioned, this puts the UW at 4-0. And they actually, if you remember from last week with the 2 rolls there, they've actually lost 0 maps so far. Congrats to them. Next week, we will have even more exciting Overwatch, and I believe that how the matching works is they try to put you with teams that have about a similar win record, and so I think the next 2 matches will be even better than the ones we see today here. For now, that's all we have for our Overwatch, and at this point, it is about 7 o'clock. We are going to go to a break, and then we're going to have some very exciting Rocket League to show you.
yeah,
Until
thanks for
then,
tuning in.
until then, thanks for tuning in. This is Pandabear and andVid. Well, maybe I should have said it for you, but it's Pandabear signing off.
It's all good. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for watching.